Hey friends, in this video we're going to look at some of the biggest changes to material design. We're going to look at the Material You design system just announced at Google I/O. We're also going to take a look at some new Android 12 updates. If you're new here, my name is Furkan, a product designer working in London. Be sure to subscribe for future design related videos, and let's get started. So one thing to talk about with Material You is it's all personalized, which means that depending on the color palette that you choose, apps are going to reflect this. For example, your calendar app might have lilac tones and shades because you've chosen a lilac color palette, and this will now reflect in your Gmail app, your contacts app, your messaging app. However, if I was a brand or a company like Spotify or someone that really wants to push their branded colors across, I wouldn't be too confident in looking at the Material You design system and following this, because it really detracts from my branded feel and pushing my branded colors, because I know Spotify are notorious for the black and green color palettes. So will Material You, if a user's now got a lilac color palette, will they now be expecting the app actually to update and will have more lilac accents throughout? I feel like this will limit developers if they go for this route, because you want to push your branded feel if you want to get more of a personalization feel to your app. However, if you're following more of a native feel, then you've got a lot of changes to basically implement into your app, because you're not just looking at lilacs now, you're looking how does your app reflect for the peach colors, the blue colors, and there's a lot going on here, and you can tell Google have put a lot of work into this because there's so many different color palettes and shades that the Material You design system adapts with. So it'll be interesting to see as this rolls out from beta what developers actually pick up from this. Will they actually pick up Material You with the colors and pastels that they've been showcasing? Will they basically reflect the personalization feel? If I've picked lilac, will my app now reflect and actually pick this up? Or will they carry on pushing their own branded feel? So one of the biggest changes in Material You, in my opinion, is Google moving away on the reliance of shadows and for elevation and bringing hierarchy to items. So material design was originally built on this quantum paper model of using different shadows to elevate the paper for your components. With Material You, we see a completely different direction change here. We're now seeing Google relying on different use of color to bring hierarchy to items. We're also seeing Google use different shapes and sizes to bring hierarchy to components as well. So one interesting thing is that with a button or a CTA, you're going to see 3 or 4 different shapes and sizes on one screen now, and I feel like this could bring some confusion to users at first if they're used to buttons being a certain shape already, as well as the added use of color on screens can add a lot more confusion as well. If you're seeing 3 or 4 different shades of colors on one screen, it's going to add a bit of confusion to make a decision. One simple design change that we've seen in Material You is the whole font change from Roboto now to Google Sans font. It gives it more of a fresh and elegant look and feel, especially for big typography headers. I really like the use of Google Sans font here. So it aligns more with the marketing posters and promotions that Google use. The Google Sans font will now be employed in the Material You design system and on all material. One thing I like to talk about is accessibility when it comes to Material You. Google have talked about how it's one of the things that they've bared in mind when creating Material You. They do use a pastel color system, and this only works well if you're using font colors of darker shades. It doesn't really work well on lighter shades, and it does limit to you when you're trying to make a more of a personalized look and feel. However, Google have bared in mind the whole scalability aspect of Material You, so if you want things to look bigger and you want to scale things up on your smaller phone, it should work well. So that's an interesting aspect Google have looked into. It'll be interesting to see once Material You goes out of beta stage how it looks. The last point I want to talk about is owning an Android phone like a Huawei. Will I actually ever see Material You reflected on my phone? I feel like if you own a Google Pixel, then the answer will be yes, and you will see Material You reflected straight away. But realistically, the most popular Android smartphones are owned by manufacturers like Samsung, Xiaomi, Huawei, Oppo, and a lot of the Material You design changes we see on more of a system level rather than the app level. So unless app developers employ this, I don't think you'll actually be seeing a lot of the Material You design changes. So Material You is heavily reflected on personality, but because we see manufacturers add in their own custom skins on top of Android, you won't probably see a lot of it. So developers can go out of their way to employ more of a Material You personalized look and feel, but will this actually work well on top of, for example, the Samsung TouchWiz interface or the Huawei interface? I feel like this is a problem that's always been on Android. Google will try and get more of a personalized material design system across, but it never really reflects well unless you're using Google apps. So Material You was obviously one of the biggest design changes to Android 12, but let's talk about some other aspects from the whole privacy standpoint and security standpoints. I feel like this was probably the second biggest announcement, and it's really similar to iOS, where Google are taking a stance of putting privacy and security back into the control of users. So if an app wants to track you, you have to give permission to the apps, as well as if you want to give location access to an app, you can now give only location permission for the session. And if an app is using your camera or microphone, this will now actually be notified and shown in the top right of your screen. So when you're developing an app and you're looking to give location permissions, it's really important to bear this in mind. How will your app actually work if users only want to give location for one session now? Or what happens if they don't want to give any location permissions over? It's really interesting to see Google and Apple giving the power over to users now. So that's my take on Material You and some of the big Android 12 updates at Google I/O 2021. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to give it a thumbs up and comment down below what you think of Material You. Do you actually like this new design system, or do you currently like the Android design system? Be sure to subscribe for future design related videos, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.